Hey Nukems, I'm going to show you how to paint this rifle in today's video. So there's been a lot of requests on the fields as well as on Instagram to show you how we actually made our rifles. So here we go, we're going to show you how this one is made in a step-by-step tutorial. So let's go. So welcome guys, we're here to show you how we painted our rifle, or how we're going to paint our rifle, the L96. We basically got a lot of requests after posting this on social media and showing up on the fields with this gun, how we actually painted it. So we're going to show you or do a small tutorial on this. For this, what we'll actually need is paint, of course. First of all, this is just some regular paint that we have. It's really good. Honestly, I've been using the rifle for a really long time. And there's no chipping, no nothing, so it cures really good. I would definitely recommend this paint. Then we of course have some alcohol to wipe off the weapon before we start painting to ensure that it sticks well. Then we have a template. So since we're actually, in my case, we're gonna try to replicate the Kryptek, it's going to need some sort of a stencil to do this. This is not something that you can free paint, of course. So for our example, we'll use a Kryptek stencil, but of course you can use any other type of stencil for your own type of paint. Then we have some masking tape. This is specially made for painting, so it unsticks really easily and it doesn't leave any residue. You can buy these anywhere almost. Then we have a small knife to actually cut the stencil, and we have the actual stencil itself. So this is like a one-sided sticky transparent paper that we'll put on top of this. We'll cut it out, and then that stencil is what we'll use on this when we paint. And of course we have some tissues in case the rifle is painted terribly. We can wipe our tears, or just to wipe off any residue. So that's it. Let's go to the actual montage. Okay, so we have everything in place to start actually cutting the stencil. This is the first thing that we're going to do. This is actually quite time consuming. You can also buy the stencils pre-made online, at least for Kryptek. But what you'll do is you'll cut out from the plastic that we have. We'll cut out something that is a little bit bigger than the shape itself that you want to use in the end. Then we're gonna tape this to the actual paper. So the most important thing is, the one that I'd use is RP semi-transparent paper. The important thing is we want this to be transparent so you can actually see the layout and it's easier for you to actually make a cut. Otherwise, what you'll have to do is you'll have to draw the drawing and then cut. So it's more efficient if you just take one that is semi-transparent. It makes it easier. So we're going to tape this down very easily. And we want to make sure that it sticks as much to the paper as possible. When you let go, don't worry, it's always not going to show. This is the way that it's rolled up. Basically, it's always going to do this. But what you'll do in the end is you'll make sure with your fingers that once you start cutting, that everything is correct. So we're going to cut this stencil. We're going to go through it, and we'll come back after it's done. Okay, so this is how the stencil is finished. So we completely cut it. We still have to actually take it out of the paper itself. but just to show how it actually looks, this is going to be one that we already used. This is going to be the end result. So this is what we're going to stick onto the rifle and going to spray over it again, and this is going to leave a mark on the actual rifle itself. Okay, so after we finished, well, this is basically all that we had. Both me and the cameraman Juan have been working on getting these stencils ready. Now what we have to do is we're gonna prep the gun itself. So not everything on this gun I want to paint. We already figured out what we want to paint, what we don't want to paint. Some of the things that we don't want to paint, for example, would be this part right here. How do you call this part? The bipod, yes, that's it. So we're gonna take this off. There we go. We don't want to paint the black rings from the actual sniper, so only basically what is this part right here and this part right here. This we don't want to paint, and also we want to leave, if you see a little edge right here, we want to keep this edge black and this edge black. Can you see it? The little edge. So we're gonna try and put some masking tape around it. Oh, and also the circular thing right here and the circular thing right there. So we're gonna keep that black. Basically we checked some pictures of reference of how we wanted our guns to look like. That's it. Also this, we're gonna take off this part. And that's it. And then we're gonna lay the weapon down. For the rest, everything is gonna be painted, or at least everything that's gonna be painted. That is not gonna be painted, I will not take it off. Instead, I will use the taping mask. So we're gonna start taping off everything that we don't want paint to get inside of. Okay, so as this part was really greasy, because we normally grease this up since this actually has motion in it. So we pull this back, of course, and that causes some motion. We're now gonna degrease it to make sure that this paper sticks on it. For this we have used alcohol, of course. The alcohol. Put it on here, and that's it. Yeah? Yeah, I think it looks nicer, right? Okay, here's the last piece. Oh. Okay, so now that we have the rifle fully prepared, or prepped, we're going to go to the actual painting itself. Well, this is how the rifle looks like, fully prepped. I'm going to leave it right here. We have the scope itself as well. And this is my camera mount, which I want to have in the same color, of course. We're going to start with the light colors, or what I think is the pretty light color. These two, and then we're going to go to the brown. The white, I will not be using that much on the actual first base. It's going to be on the second base that I'll start using this. So first of all, I'm going to give it an even coat everywhere. And be careful that when you stop spraying outside of the gun, not on the gun itself. Otherwise you're gonna have like very small little droplets and it's gonna start to look bad. So spray and then here. So when you spray, here is where you turn it off. Otherwise you're gonna have small droplets. Okay, so we finished with the very first layer on the rifle itself. Now, if we actually look at the Kryptek itself, you can notice that the lines that we're going to be covering with our layout, they're actually dark green in most of the place. They go from dark green slowly to light green, and in some places it's brown. In very specific places, the stuff that we're going to be covering and then spraying over is going to be brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up with another base coat with random dark green through it because I want to have light green and dark green to resemble the stripes, and then a little bit of brown. The white is mostly going to be sprayed afterwards, so we're not going to spray it right now. Well, very little, not that much, and then we'll actually continue with the actual spray. So I'm going to put this aside, and this is going to be just like any other camo rifle. We're going to continue, but in random areas, so not everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to continue with some dark brown spots. I personally like it up the front, in the middle, and one at the end as well. So this is going to be the most eye-catching place. This is the thing that is going to stick out in the woods. So I normally want this to be as properly camouflaged as possible. And in the end, just for looks, because I love it. Okay, here, and I'll tell you what. We're going to be spraying two colors, and that is because if we do overspray, I can delete it this way. And one thing that I'm doing right here is I prefer it going from dark green to brown to dark green. Otherwise the contrast is too big. So I'm actually I'm overspraying the light green area so it blends in a little bit better. This is my personal opinion, you can do it different, but I think it looks just a little bit better. And here I just want to have one big one because the stock is pretty big. And I oversprayed just a little bit right there. So I'll be choosing just a very few areas in which I want to do the white. The white is a very small detail, so I don't want it too much, because it can ruin the gun. Since it's such a powerful color, we want to be careful with it. Okay, so what I'll be doing is this part right here is going to be right here. Since we oversprayed already to compensate for the color, these colors don't match anymore. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to do almost exactly the same but on this side. So we have the white. We have the white, which is almost at the ring level. And I'm going to do it a little bit thicker because we're going to end up correcting it with the green either way, with the light green. And you have a little problem with the spray cap. It's not completely clean and it's making small bubbles. So I have to be careful with that. So the brown is all the way at the end, so I want to be careful with this. Just to see. Okay, so this is how it ends up looking. So as we can see, we can almost match it perfectly. So it looks like it's part of the same spray. I tried doing it here, but in the end it didn't work out, so another tactic is to do it this way. Okay, so we finished our template. Once you actually take the paper off, it's going to be transparent like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this template where we want on the gun itself. So we can choose, well, I think this would be a pretty nice side. And since it's sticky, all you have to do is place it like this, tap it just a little bit, make sure that it's nice and tight so no paint can get underneath. And we're going to be choosing a nice open area, which is going to be right here, which actually looks perfect for this. There we go. Okay, so now that we actually finished with the stencils itself, you can see it very lightly, but we have a stencil right here and a stencil right here as well. We'll probably add one or two more later on, but we're going to be painting only half of it because we don't have enough stencils. What we're going to do is we're going to paint exactly the opposite color. So if we have a very dark color, we're going to go for the very light color to create a good contrast between the two. You can see an example of it right here on the finished product. So as you can see, the underground was white, and then what we sprayed on top is going to be brown. So there's going to be a nice contrast between the two. The same for this. We have white and the background was dark green or light dark green. So we're going to be spraying exactly the opposite color in most of the areas. It doesn't have to be exactly like it, but we want to have quite a good of a contrast between the two. So we're going to start off with the white this time, and we're going to go to the darker colors. Now what I want to do is I want to blend the colors out. So the same as I did before, basically, as I said before. From brown we're going to go to dark green, just to blend the colors slightly. So it's still sticky, it's not perfect. I don't want it completely light green, so I'm going to be brushing it just a little bit off. This is going to be dark green. So there we go. Okay, so this stencil I want to place like that. We're going to take off this stencil as well. Normally I would recommend you to wait just a little bit until the paint is slightly dry, but for now we're kind of on a time limit, so we're taking it off quickly today. But personally I would recommend for you to wait. It gives better end results and it's going to be looking a little bit better. So do as I say, not as I do. Wait 5 to 10 minutes before taking this off. Lol. Okay, that was not. We can solve it. We're just gonna make some happy little tree friends right here. now that we're done with the stencils, oh, that looks sweet. Now that we're done with the stencils, you can choose. If you find one area way too white, way too much of the same color, if you don't like a specific area, simply overspray it just a little bit with whatever color that you want, and it should be perfect. So I think we have a little bit too much of white. Don't you think?
No, it's okay.
Maybe, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
No overspraying, no nothing. Basically what you can do is you can correct it. So you can just overspray the area that you don't like. But this, for me, looks okay. So we're gonna set it to dry. Once it's dried, we're gonna place all the little stuff. So we're gonna do the unmasking as well. And then we're gonna show you how it's finished.